we'll do the live thing first. Like, hey everybody, welcome back to the Bigmark podcast. It's me, your host, Bigmark. If it's your first time watching, welcome. If not, welcome back. Like I always say, if you ever wanted to reach out to the podcast, hit us up. Let us know if you wanted to hear about a topic or join us here as a guest. Let us know in the comments or in our DMs on Twitter or Instagram at the Bigmark Pod or at the Bigmark Podcast. Always happy to listen to everyone and want to engage with everybody, and I hope you got engage with yourself. And speaking of which, thank you all for being here. This is the best way you can possibly support the podcast, is by being here with us. Like and subscribe to the channel if you're watching on YouTube. Like the video and subscribe, and pass it around to your friends if they're cool. Only if they're cool, because in your friends at least that you think are cool and will like the Bigmark podcast. And if they like the Bigmark podcast, they're cool. Look at that. That's logic, people. That's logic. Anyway, thank you all for the support. Just being here is the best way you can support the podcast. If you wanted to go that extra mile, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/BigmarkPod. Anyway, thank you all for being here tonight, today, this morning, this afternoon, whenever you're listening, whenever you're watching the Bigmark podcast. Me and all my farmers tan glory, rocking the Arkells, Hamilton Ticats collab. Might be wondering why I'm looking so greasy, because it's the end of the summer, which is why I'm coming out here looking like shit, looking like a slob, because I'm starting to turn things around. And it's funny because I have a hernia. I think I mentioned before on the podcast, I got to lose 100 pounds. I think that's impossible. That's what the doctors told me. The doctors told me I got to lose 100. If I lose more than 100 pounds, so my lean body mass, like back in grade 12, man, not even grade 11, was like 265. So that's zero body fat, 265 pounds. Currently, and I think when I went to go see the hernia people, which was like 2 years ago now, like fuck, I've been just chipping away. Anyway, they told me to lose 100 back then, and I think I was maybe 350, which is again heavier for even me, but 350 I think was just like off the charts for them. So they're like, you gotta lose 100. So I would have been down to, no, maybe I was like 340. Because I think they were like, they wanted me down to like 240 something. And it was like, man, if I'm down 240, I'm losing 40 pounds of lean muscle, which is like, man, that can't be good for me. / who knows what kind of shape I'm in, even if I get to that point, and then I got to go under surgery. Like, yes, it's good to be in shape and be in, keep your fucking shit together when you're about to have surgery. It's better to, especially when you're going to do a surgery where you're not going to be able to move a lot after. You don't want to like start fat. You're going to get even fatter. You want to just like start in better shape at least, and then it'll kind of get you somewhere where you're going. And then also just healthier, being in the best shape possible is the best way you're going to possibly recover from a surgery. So anyway, I'm going to try to at least get under 300, see where we're at right there, and see like, look at body fat percentages. And, actually here in Hamilton, Ontario, McMaster University has this like body composition lab. They call it the Bod Pod, where they basically like dunk you in a tank and measure the displacement of water and a bunch of other calculations. They can calculate like your fucking lean body mass down to a fucking T. So I might go do that as well. And just be like, yo, listen, when I go to the clinic, I'd be like, listen, I know I didn't lose 100, but I'm under 300, and I lost 50% body fat or whatever. And because that's the thing with when you go pure weight, it's tough, especially if I'm working out, because I'm going to be doing some like weightlifting too, because I fucking love weightlifting. I got to get back to it. I'm going to be putting on a little bit of muscle, and that is heavy. So they always go at the body BMI. Anyway, you might be wondering why I'm talking about being a fat shit. We're going to be talking about Supersize Me today. I'm really surprised I actually have never done an episode on this. If I have, and I somehow missed it looking back in the archives, hit me up. But Supersize Me, the 2004 documentary, we're going all the way back to 2004. If you've never seen the movie, it's a great documentary. Basically, imagine eating nothing but McDonald's for an entire month. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. How do you think your body would react? And how do you think your mind would hold up? Supersize Me, directed and starring Morgan Spurlock. like I said, released in 2004, was basically a movie where Morgan himself ate McDonald's every single day. Became one of the most talked about documentaries of its time, grossing grossing $22 million on a $65,000 budget. So they made some good coin. And we'll basically talk a little bit about Morgan, some of the stuff he went through, what happened to him physically, of course, through the whole thing, and how the world reacted. All these different things can be really interesting. It's a fascinating documentary, and there's even some kind of twists at the end where you kind of look at it and you're like, okay, maybe it wasn't exactly everything it was cracked up to be. Anyway, teaser. So who is Morgan Spurlock? At the time, he was a little-known independent filmmaker. And he was actually inspired by a lawsuit where he saw two teenage girls suing McDonald's for making them obese. Eventually, the case was dismissed. The whole case was saying that McDonald's wasn't really telling people or the representatives of these two women, two teenage girls who had exploded in their weight gain was incredible. I don't have the numbers on me right now, but they went up in insane numbers, and I don't think that they were necessarily eating McDonald's breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but they were eating a lot of McDonald's. I think 2 out of 3 meals potentially. So still pretty close, but essentially they were saying McDonald's wasn't saying how fat they could possibly get by eating their meals. McDonald's was kind of everyone kind of fucking knows McDonald's is not great for you, even though they didn't really want to say that. So Morgan was kind of being like, okay, let's actually try to get down to this. Let's look a lot into what McDonald's is doing. And of course, what happens if you eat McDonald's exclusively. Now, this is the thing. When you watch a documentary, there's a lot more going on. Talks a lot about just kind of fast food chains in general. It's one of the first times I remember watching this documentary in school, in high school and stuff. It was something that was people were like, yes, this is a good way to get people off eating McDonald's. And it was also looking into just how there's this illusion of choice that even in within schools, this is in America, which is even worse, but even within schools, a lot of the food that was given to the children was owned by these companies, and McDonald's is a trippy thing because they own the land and then the food, and they're all about being exactly consistent across the board. But again, they're also about making a lot of money and selling food that tastes good. They don't necessarily care as much about food that is bad for you. And again, I've always kind of gone off the fact that fucking fast food is bad for you. Burgers and fries and shakes and fucking, that's not great for you. It's fat and all this shit. So again, he looks into a lot of that other stuff too. And he had a lot of trouble actually talking to a lot of people. So, obviously documentarians always kind of milk that, and they go, oh yeah, I wasn't able to talk to the guy, so he's obviously avoiding me, for some reason or the other. Anyway, they might just not want to fucking talk to you, man. Whatever, you're obviously doing greasy shit. Potentially. We'll see. Anyway, the rules of Morgan's experiment were 3 meals per day must come from McDonald's. I don't think he was allowed to eat any other food per se, but he must try every item on the menu at least once during the 30 days. No outside food or drink, including water. And then he must supersize whenever asked at the counter. He went to doctors and stuff and got, checked up and got his initial condition figured out. Doctors gave him full checkups. He was in excellent health. His weight was around 185 pounds, cholesterol normal, good energy levels. And his vegan chef girlfriend at the time provided lots of food for him, but she kind of could tell that this was going to be a bit of a train wreck. Well, she might have known some other stuff that was going on too, but we'll see. So, week 1, his enthusiasm was quickly replaced by physical struggle. His first supersized meal, when he was asked if he wanted to supersize something, was 5,000 plus calories in one sitting, and I'm pretty sure did puke off that one. He started feeling sluggish, experiencing headaches and cravings and mood swings already in the first week. His daily diet was, Egg McMuffins for breakfast, hash browns, orange juice. Lunch was Big Macs, quarter pounders, fries. Dinners, McChickens, fillets of fish, McFlurries, soda with every meal, tons of sugar. If you had to supersize, you had to supersize it. So within 30 days, he gained, and again, he's just miserable. Oh, he also, which was an interesting stipulation, he also didn't walk more than like 10,000 steps or more than 1,000 steps or something crazy, which is like the average at the time in the early 2000s. The average American only walked or someone who has a sedentary lifestyle only walked like 2,000 steps or like 1,000 steps. So like he couldn't walk everywhere. He's in New York City. He couldn't fucking walk everywhere. So he like took cabs everywhere. So that added to all this, but he gained 24.5 pounds in the 30 days. His cholesterol shot up to 230. His liver enzyme spiked, showing early signs of fatty liver disease, which one of his doctors said, I haven't seen this kind of liver in anybody other than like a fucking like hardcore alcoholic. So doctors urged him to stop halfway through. You're going to die if you keep this up. He had depression-like symptoms, and he felt like kind of an addictive cycle already starting. He felt high after eating McDonald's and crashed hard. And on his personal side, his girlfriend noted decreased energy and performance in all aspects of life. He wasn't able to perform in the sack. He wasn't able to have the old sexual intercourse. And he documented constant fatigue, chest pains, and emotional instability. And one of the funniest things, or one of the interesting things that I learned in some of my research is that anyway, you know what? Hold on. That was a teaser. That was a major teaser. Stick with me here. I jumped the gun, but I didn't yet. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, this documentary was fucking shown everywhere. It was shown to high school kids like me. It was shown to people all over the world, just as this whole thing where it's like McDonald's is greasy. It's fucking sassy molassy. It's not really good. It's bad for you. Obviously, like we said before, it's like who's saying that fucking McDonald's is good for you, right? Let alone eating it every day, right? So it premiered at Sundance in 2004 to a standing ovation and major buzz. Became a pop culture talking point and featured on talk shows and news outlets. Like I said, was shown in high schools. The soundtrack was unreal. Wesley Willis has a great, that song Rock and Roll McDonald's is phenomenal. And again, just made McDonald's look fucking brutes. It had policymakers kind of starting to question fast food's role in childhood obesity, which again is amazing. Sparked new controversies about portion sizes and calorie counts. I'm pretty sure after this came out or soon after, we started seeing like actual calories being listed. Some schools banned soda machines, added healthier lunches, inspired other documentaries like Food Inc. and Fed Up and all these documentaries, right? Opened the door on food activism on TV, Jamie Oliver's Food Revolution, all these people kind of just looking into it, being like, what the fuck is going on here? It's greasy. It's not great for you. And coincidence or not, within months of the film's release, McDonald's announced that it was eliminating the Supersize option. They also rolled out salads, fruit, and bottled water. Actually, some of those salads, you gotta be careful that the fucking dressings are just as worse. Look at some of the calorie counts on some of that shit. And McDonald's officially said that it had nothing to do with the movie, but coincidence? I think not. But like I said, it had this major influence on the whole world. And, obviously there was critics and there was people saying, it's not realistic behavior. No one eats McDonald's 3 times a day for a month straight. Even though there was one guy in the documentary that I'm pretty sure he ate like at least 1 or 2 Big Macs a day. Now, again, there might have been a biased narrative. Spurlock kind of knew it would go badly. He was trying. He took an extreme approach. Let's just put it this way. It's again, yeah, no, not everyone's gonna be fucking doing shit like this. And yes, the food industry is greasy, and I think in some ways, Morgan wasn't only opening our eyes to the negatives of the food itself coming from McDonald's, but he talked a lot about the marketing and how they treat children, how they target children, and how they're giving food and they're getting these children set off on a path obesity, essentially, of terrible habits that start so early with toys and fun clowns and fucking play places and shit that get people hooked when they're kids. Just as the same shit that cigarette companies, which they talk about in the documentary, this is the same shit that like all these diabolical companies do, is they get people young and they know eventually these people are going to become an adult consumer with their own dispensable, whatever you want to call it, expendable income, and they're going to want to buy your product, let alone the fucking food that they eat. And that's a lot of what the documentary talks about too, is like, we gotta create a whole new way of eating here. And it starts with like teaching people how to eat when they're young and teaching people how to cook and skills and all these different things, which again, the documentary talks about. It's not just about the actual food and what Morgan did to himself. And I think in some ways, yes, he did a very extreme approach to this whole thing. But in fact, I think he talks about, and like I said, it mentions it in the documentary about the marketing schemes that McDonald's takes. It's almost like a reverse propaganda thing where he's taking the extreme and saying like, yo, this isn't fucking all sunshine and rainbows. Okay, yes, I'm puking and I'm fucking up myself by eating Ronnie's all day long, all day, every day. But it's to get your attention to all this other shit too, right? You know, there's counter documentaries that came out too. Tom Naughton's Fathead came out and argued that you could eat fast food and still lose weight if you made smart choices like skipping fries and avoiding soda. Of course, again, Spurlock did the extreme and he forced himself to eat like some Americans do, not always, not every day, but sometimes multiple times a week. The reality is multiple times a week, a lot of Americans and Canadians for that matter are eating out. And I'm a fucking culprit of that too, right? And yes, it's not every meal. Yes, not every meal is 5,000 plus and you try to make healthier options, but there is a truth to the fact that if you just look at the macronutrients that are in the burger and fries and shit, well, maybe not the fries, but the burger itself, it's not that bad. Yes, there's fucking greasy other shit in there, binders and preservatives and all types of shit. And actually in one of the DVD extras, I remember seeing this in high school because we like looked at the extras once. There was they bought like, I think a quarter pounder, maybe just like a regular cheeseburger and fucking fries from McDonald's, and they put it under like a little glass dome, like the bat phone, put it under a little cake dish. And it was there for like at least 6 months. It might have been pushing a year. It was like during the whole production of the show, and no one touched it. And it looked exactly the same as it was. Actually, in fact, one time in university, there was a McDonald's between us and the bar, residents in the bar, I should say, our place, all the boys and girls, London Hall and the bar. There was a McDonald's on the way. So it was definitely getting hit when we were coming back from the bar. A lot of times we'd just have the cab drop us off there and then we'd walk back. Tremendous. Anyway, one time I grabbed a, junior chicken, McDouble combo, maybe 2 junior chickens, maybe 2 McDoubles if I was feeling frisky. And I remember taking the top off my McDouble, took off the pickles and everything, and it just had a little ketchup on it. I took the top bun off, and we were walking into our residence, London Hall, and we were walking into the main entrance, and there was like the little bulletin board with all the shit, whatever, come down, we're going to do a little dance this Friday, whatever, Christmas, fucking whatever bulletin shit that they put up on those boards. And I took the top of my bun and I just fucking smacked it right above the bulletin board onto like the drywall right up above the bulletin board. And this is like, I hit it up there. So we're talking it's about 7 feet up in the air. So I put it up there, kept walking. 4 months at least, this bun was up there. It looked pristine every time I'd walk by. And I don't think anyone caught it right away because it was so high up. But every day I'd walk past that bun, I'd look at that bun, and it was identical to the day that I put it up. No blemishes, no mold, no fucking grease, no nothing. And it was there to this day. It was hard as fuck. I went to touch it and it was hard as a rock. And eventually one day it looked like one of the janitors had to use a putty knife, like a straight fucking flat knife to scrape that binge off, because all I saw one day was just a circle where the bun used to be down to the paper of the drywall. Like it was on the card, like the fucking cardboard type paper of the drywall. Like it was all the way down. Hilarious. So obviously there's fucking some bad shit, but if you just went on macronutrients, fat, protein, carbohydrates, watch your calorie intake, you can eat basically whatever you want. As long as you're watching that shit. even if it's fatty and stuff, you'll know, and you'll avoid certain things that are too much, and you'll have to work your diet around those. But like, as long as you're hitting those starting with protein, if you hit your protein, which is usually like, for the average person, probably like 0.5 grams to a gram per pound of body weight. That's what you should be ingesting. Some like athletes even higher than 1 gram. But so like for me, I'm talking like 320 grams of protein. If I do that, work out my calorie count, blah, 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 and I work out all those other things, carbs, fat, I'm going to be giving my body what it needs. Those micronutrients like vitamins and all that stuff, that's where we start to get into the quality of our food. That's where we start to have to be careful about what types of food we're eating. We can't just eat fucking salami all the time and fucking bread and cheese, because yeah, maybe we can figure out a way to hit all of our macros that way. But there's other fucking shit, and there's not like there's not shit in those things either. But again, that's where the fruits and the veg start to come in. They have all these antioxidants and all these other things. So, but it's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. So don't look at it that way. However, like I said, Fathead by Tom Naughton was the documentary kind of coming out showing you can do that. You know, some of the nutritional debates that came up about the movie, some of the other critiques was the weight gain due to portion size, lack of balance, processed ingredients, not moving. Like I said, some nutritionists argue that the experiment was more than a stunt than science. And like I said, yes, maybe it was, but did it ever get people's attention? And even with the criticisms, the movies highlighted how addictive, calorie dense, and nutritionally poor some fast food meals can be. There were some overconsumption points stuck with audience, even if the exact rules were extreme. Nearly 20 years later, what remains? McDonald's and other chains display calorie counts, greater availability of healthy options, though sometimes just marketing, sometimes just a marketing spin. Portion sizes still a debate. Some meals still exceed daily calorie recommendations. A whole meal, just one meal, can exceed your entire daily calorie recommendations, right? Spurlock kept making documentaries, made other social experiment movies. You know, Where in the World is Osama bin Laden, the greatest movie ever sold. Holy Chicken, where he actually opened a chicken shop, like a chicken burger place in fucking Toronto in like 2017, 2018. I think it got killed by COVID, but it was like a chicken. It was like a fried chicken sandwich place, but they were like, "Yo, this is what you're getting. It's got high calories. It's fucking not great for you, but it's a treat, and this is what you're getting, and this is what's in it, and this is what we do, and this is what we put in it." And it was like a little bit like kind of like, oh fuck, like I don't know how great I feel about eating this stuff, but at least I know exactly what I'm doing, and I'm fully consenting to maybe not eating the healthiest thing. Unfortunately, his reputation took a hit shortly after with personal misconduct admissions, and he did die in 2024. But the documentary's legacy is still seen as a cultural time capsule of early 2000s food culture and remains one of the most impactful food documentaries in history. Like I said, Supersize Me made me rethink fast food growing up. You know, it was still a treat. It was still something that, you know, you enjoyed from time to time. It wasn't something that you wanted. And that was what I learned growing up. Again, now I can see how addicting it can be, and you just got to be careful, and you can make the right choices. I think since I watched Supersize Me, I never ate fries again when I went out to fast food places. I mean, I would eat like 2 burgers. So like, who's to say what's better? But who's to say? If it's got fucking, like, I'm a Burger King kid. It's got a burger, which, you know, it's got beef in it. Who knows what the fuck else is in it? But it's got tomato, it's got onion, it's got lettuce. Legit, like, you can't make that up. It's not fucking fake. And the bun is decent. It's got sesame seeds and shit, pickles. Fucking get that in you. Like, how, and a little bit of like, you know, American cheese. That's like maybe plastic, but it also tastes fine. So how bad can that be? The fries are tough because it's a starch just doused in oil. So, who's to say? You know, the iconic image of Spurlock looking ill with fries hanging out of his mouth is, you know, just cultural shorthand for junk food excess. And it just opened people to to this bigger conversation, right? You know, even if the way he went at it, and, you know, in fact, the big twist, I guess, which I haven't even brought up, was that a lot of the things that a lot of the doctors were saying about him might have actually been that Morgan was drinking a lot. He was actually an alcoholic. Like I said before, remember the doctor said, I haven't seen a liver like this except in like an actual alcoholic. And I think before going into the whole documentary, like, Morgan quit drinking, I think, for the month leading up, because he said he like was trying to get healthy as possible to start. So I think he was like in second month of like alcohol withdrawals essentially, and that's why he was puking and shit. So again, it's always hard to say with this whole thing. Let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater here. You know, like I said before, you know, even if the guy himself is imperfect, and sorry I kept you all hanging to the very end. At least maybe that brought you to the end of the podcast episode. But like I said, you know, even the man himself wasn't a perfect dude. But you're gonna see me try to get after it. I'm trying to really cut down on sugars. I'm trying to get my macros in, trying to eat a bunch of fucking protein. I'm trying to get under 300. So you see me now, world. You won't see as much of me later. Anyway, thanks y'all for watching. Go watch the documentary if you've never seen it. I'm sure you've seen it by now, but if not, go check it out. Let me know what you think. Love y'all. We'll see you next time. Check it out. Patreon, YouTubes. Love ya. Peace.